friends, with you it's Andrea Purvu, and today I welcome you guys back to a new episode of the Prima Podcast. For today's episode, we are going to discuss about that match that took place a very long while ago. But this week, on my way to school, I realized something about the quarterfinal of the Champions League, about the second leg of the match Arsenal versus Real Madrid. And I really felt the need to share it, so yeah, basically for a very long time I was thinking that Real Madrid didn't really have an option in the second leg of that match. I was thinking that it was basically impossible for Real Madrid to manage to win, and you might wonder why. Well, because the score was 3-0. Obviously, Arsenal in the second match was using the tactic that Jose Mourinho created, which is called the bus. Basically, that is a tactic where the defenders are sat very low and they create like a defending block, let's say. And yeah, it's very hard to break into that, especially because Real Madrid was forced to keep two defenders out in the back in case of a counterattack. So in the box, they were obviously outnumbered, So basically, that was something that made it, in my head at first, impossible for Real Madrid to win, because, as I said, they were outnumbered and they couldn't do anything else in this case. Even though they played pretty well, they weren't that bad still. Tactically speaking, it was at that point impossible to do it. But when I was in the bus to school this week, I was thinking about it, and I don't know from where that came, but I've got an idea, and I realized that I think that if they played with this formation, they would have managed to break into Mikel Arteta's bus. And yeah, let me explain you my idea. So basically, this would have been the formation, Herbert's WW, which was created somewhere around, I think, 1925. It was basically created when the offside rule changed. And yeah, first of all, it was the formation MW, and then it became WW. And yeah, I would have seen it like this. So basically, as center backs, I would have seen Rudiger and Asensio and Valverde, even though you see Valverde on this line, because basically the formation is 2-3-2-3, right? And you see him on the free line. Still, he would have played a bit as a central midfielder, as a central back, kind of like there, he would have done defending, but also playing box to box, yeah. Then we have the two wide backs, the two wing backs, I meant to say, who would have been, for me, Bellingham and Brahim Diaz, but don't worry about it because they are going to rotate their positions. I'm going to tell you more after that. And then we have here, we have Modric, and I don't know exactly who to put here. So basically, I would have put the player that I would have seen in that week at training to be the most in form, because here I would have put Camavinga, but Camavinga couldn't play in that match because he was awarded a red card. So here I think would have fit either Arda Güler, either Ceballos. Arda Güler was good because especially he has a very good chemistry with Modric and they play really well together, and also he really needs minutes, and especially in important matches like these, he needs that confidence and stuff like that. So yeah, I think he would have worked here, but also Ceballos would have been very, very good because yeah, he has experience and all that stuff. He's a great player, and yeah. So basically, whoever was more informed that week. But yeah, let me know who would have you placed here to play next to Modric as central midfielders, let's say. Yeah, and then we have the attacking line, which is formed by obviously Vinicius, Mbappe and Rodrigo. Vinicius and Rodrigo as wingers, and Mbappe as a striker. But don't worry about this formation, because I know that you guys will be some players are not put in the best position, But anyways, the like in my vision, they were supposed to also like rotate between the positions when they felt like it. I think that this is a formation that allows the team to insert their creativity, and yeah, I mean, this won't be the only way that they would be playing, so yeah. So now let's dive in a bit deeper. So you are going to see me like having my phone in my hand and sometimes look down, because I basically note down everything that I want to say, and yeah, I want to make sure that I'm saying everything the way I thought it. So yeah, so we are going to dive a bit deeper into like the core problem that I identified with their tactics in that match. So as I said, Real Madrid committed 2 players for counter safety, 2 players in the back, by the way, so 2 players in the back for counter safety, and Arsenal set deep, doing low blocks like Mourinho's boss. And yeah, because of this, most possessions led to stale and also to recycled attacks. And also, obviously, as I said before, they were outnumbered, and mostly they were outnumbered at the edge of the box, which is the exact nightmare of like positional play. And Real Madrid is a team that like plays, you know, with positional play, with positional attack in general. And yeah, this is basically their nightmare. Too many players behind the ball, not enough between the lines, so yeah. So now let's dive into my WW concept. So basically, what I thought, so the wing backs would start attacking like this, the midfielders would drop, and the attackers would help with build-ups, trying to get defenders out of their shape. And also we would still keep 2 defenders for counter safety, because yeah, I mean, this is a crucial thing. You have to have counter safety in this kind of games. So yeah, basically wingbacks would act as primarily strikers, and they would start deep but sprint into the wide spaces. Then midfielders would drop to cover and to circulate, and attackers would help, as I mentioned before, with the build up and to draw defenders out of the shape. And again, 2 defenders for counter safety. So yeah, this basically would draw Arsenal's block outward, and with the wingbacks attacking around the block with speed, they would basically mostly create like 1v1 interactions, battles, or forcing overloads. So yeah, what are in my opinion the tactical benefits of my idea? So first of all, we stretch the block horizontally with an aggressive way of playing with the wing backs, and this way we avoid central congestion, with somewhere like around 8 players of Arsenal being parked. And yeah, my deeper midfield would invite pressure to open spaces, and the attackers dropping would create confusion for the Arsenal central back. So yeah, basically that's mostly the idea, to create confusion for the players so they would be drawn out of the block shape. Especially this idea of attackers dropping, I think that this one is the kicker, because this leads to crossing opportunities with multiple runners. As I said before, rotational movements that would derange the bus, and diagonal switches to exploit shifting defenders. What other tactics I got for this match besides the formation would be to use a false 9, which could definitely be Bellingham, or maybe even Valverde could play as a false 9, and like yeah, to basically go higher on the pitch and rotate their position. Sometimes like being out of the WW shape is okay. I mean, for this match, if I was the coach, I would have wanted creativity, but mostly, I mean, yes, I would have wanted them to follow the WW formation, but also I would have really encouraged creativity and all that stuff. So yeah, false 9 would have really worked. Maybe Bellingham to play like with Vinicius and Rodrigo, maybe even with Mbappe, there's a false 9, he would have really worked. Because obviously my idea for the false 9 was to drag the central back out. And also during the match to do late runs from the midfield into the half spaces, which would have been really good because it would have given them many options, like to dribble wide or to pass inside to a dropping attacker or a striker, or lay off to a midfielder arriving behind the first wave. So yeah, basically this would have been my idea. Also, again, don't worry about these players being put in these positions because they, as I said, I would have really encouraged them to rotate. And also I had an idea for Mbappe, I almost forgot to say it. I think that Mbappe, if he ever felt the need to like get into the wing back and do his sprints, his popular sprints, it would have been great. I mean, if he would have felt like he doesn't want to play as a striker anymore and stuff like that, and he would want sometimes to go as a winger and to do again his sprints and his dribbles, it would have been a problem. So yeah, basically my idea was Real Madrid to play in a WW formation, but I would have also really encouraged them to be as creative as possible and do what they feel. So yeah, this was it for today's video, you guys. I hope you guys liked it. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, share it to your friends if you think that any of this information might be useful to them, comment down below any suggestion for me to improve and stuff like that, and subscribe to keep in tune with all of my uploads. Okay, you guys, bye!